Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player. Good morning. Ira Epstein of Lynn & Associates with your morning flash update for this Wednesday, the 14th of June, 2017, and we're right now about 9:10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. By now you should have heard, and if you haven't, there's been a shooting in Alexandria, Virginia. I guess it was softball practice for the Republican Party, and House Majority Whip Scalise was shot by, obviously, somebody that didn't like the Republicans, and I understand there were for sure two shootings. In other words, he had a guard with him because he is the House Majority Whip. Normally congressmen don't. That helped, and they were able to subdue eventually with SWAT teams and like the shooter. I've heard as much as 4 shootings, but I don't know what's going on. So far, nothing life-threatening. That obviously created some turmoil in markets. You can see the gold's still up $10. You're up 40 cents in the silver. Add to that today the FOMC announcement and terrible economic data that came out in front of it. That put the dollar down 55 points, 70 points higher in the euro. Most markets, including the yen, sharply higher against the dollar. That also is one of the reasons that the gold market is up. Energy prices under assault still. The Saudis have now stated that they are not going to continue sending the amount of oil that they have been in the past to the U.S. They've been doing, in round figures, 1 million barrels a day by the end of August. The expectations are for 750,000 barrels a day. But it sounds one way. It's not all the way that it sounds. You know, let's face it, we're not the big market we were years ago. These are the lowest numbers by August since 1988, but we've become more and more towards the area of self-sufficient. We're not there yet, but we are getting there. And they'll take that oil, and if you think they're just not going to produce it, wrong. They'll just move it to somewhere else. That brings up the amount of oil in storage on tankers, and it's growing. I wrote about that in last night's report. In the grain markets, you're still in a weather situation. You're still in a situation where the protein in the Minneapolis wheat especially is under assault. In other words, driving prices higher, which carries with the Chicago wheat and the corn. I think the soybeans are more or less along for the ride. And I also want you to keep in the back of your mind, you got to start changing to more active months. You got to move to, like I think, the Sep wheat, Dees corn, August meal, November soybeans. I'll be even changing for you today the sugar and the cotton and moving those to more frequent months that are trading. And I've already moved to the August contracts in the energy sector. So that should give you an idea there. Let's take a look at the, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. There we go. The Fed's going to announce its monetary policy today at 1 o'clock. So everybody's waiting. I can tell you that we just hit in the 10-year note, a 2.13%. Now, that's the lowest I recall recently in this. So the market is saying to the Fed, yeah, you're going to raise your rate, but it could be a one-off and done. Part of the reason has to do with a lot of the data I'm going to show you. Business inventories came in where expected. No shock there. Here is your shocking headline in the CPI. CPI was down 1/10. They expected it flat. The CPI ex food and energy up 1/10. They expected it up 2/10. And as we know, energy prices were down 2.7%. The prior was up 1.1. And the next report's going to be even further down because this market still isn't looking very good one way or the other. Then we get to the CPI food prices, which they too were about where the market thought, and average earnings down 1/10. So they're still not getting that wage inflation any way you want to look at it. Advanced retail sales, bad, down 0.3. They expected it flat. So the economic data coming out of the U.S., and if the Fed says it's transitory, fine, but it isn't good. And that is why you are seeing the dollar down, the gold up, stock market flat right here, and interest rates, real rates as determined in the marketplace, not by the Fed, they are falling. April industrial output in the EU rose 0.5% on the month, and that's according to Eurostat, that matched expectations. Germany's annual inflation rate, this isn't good. and it was measured by the harmonized EU standards, fell to 1.4% from 2% in April. That is not what they were looking. Yes, it confirmed what they thought on May 30th, but they're confirming that they're not getting the inflation they were looking for. Then we get the Bank of Japan. They begin their 2-day meeting starting tomorrow. We'll hear about it on Friday. They are expected to hold things steady as they are. They're going to be looking at what the U.S. does, but I doubt that they're going to follow the U.S. lead. They're probably going to sit behind on everything. I want to talk to you about seasonals at this time of the year. Yes, seasonals. You're in the heart of grains right now. Which ways do they typically go at this time of the year? You're in summer. There are seasonals that impact summer-type trading, which is a different type of trading than the rest of the year. Now, do seasonals work every time? No. They're another tool. They'll give you an idea of a 15-year window. What's the percentage of time it works, doesn't work, both for the futures, straight out, and spreads. And then in the more research, they also do write-ups every month for you, and they give you a write-up of the idea between why this market is moving that way, what has driven it, all the write-ups you need. And what I love on the charts, they're interactive charts. So you're going to get a user ID and password. You can go play with the charts, look at bull years, bear years, non-trending years, figure out which ways they all go. Get a 2-week trial. I've been doing this for 30 years with them. Give us a call, 866-973-2077. Go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. You'll see a carousel of free offers. Click on them. You will get a form that drops down. Fill out the things you'd want. Same thing right here. Just click on this icon that you see on YouTube or under us on a number of websites. It says, click here for Ira's free offers. Do so. We'll make sure everything gets sent out to you. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great day, and I'll talk to you all later in the day.